Hey everyone, welcome back. So today's bow review episode, we're going to be taking a look at the AXXIS31 by Athens Archery. I love talking a little bit about each company before we begin. So Athens company, I think, is one of my favorite that I have dealt with during our bow review backyard bows process. When you call, you get Tracy on the phone, the owner. She can answer all your questions. They have some awesome options that they offer. One of them is a lifetime transferable warranty. So any Athens bow, whether you purchased it originally or whether you bought it secondhand, it has a full warranty top to bottom. That's how much that they like their bows to be performing in the field. I love it. I think that's one of the best things that separates them from other companies. Another thing, you can buy direct. You don't have a company close to you that sells a bow shop. You can actually go onto the website, you can order your bow and they will ship it directly to you. That really separates them from all the other companies. I mean, I think that's, besides APA, I think that's the only other company that does that. And then lastly, they have a save your hunt option, even if you're not shooting an Athens bow. Now, I always have said I would love to talk to somebody who has used this option and they can give me some feedback on whether or not how simple it was and if it actually was something that was very convenient. Because when you read about it, you're like, wow, that is an awesome option. So whether you're shooting at Athens or not, they will send you a bow, save your hunt if you're somewhere hunting and something happens to the bow that you're currently using. Those three things I think separate Athens as a company from everybody else, and I love all three of those options. Since I picked up the Vista, the first bow that we did by Athens, I have just highly anticipated every bow. The Elevate, that kind of was one step up, which I love these companies have been doing this. They take this very successful platform and then they just add a little bit to it. Taking feedback from hunters and the consumers, you know, minor changes here and there to make a more well-rounded bow, where I think the AXXIS, they have some really cool new technology that's patented, which we'll go over in a second. But I think altogether, this is one of the best, most complete bows that we've had in here. I love this bow, every single inch of it, top to bottom. Okay, so let's go ahead. We'll go over the specs real quick. We got 31 inches axle to axle, which is my favorite compact axle to axle height, being my draw length of 30 inches. You have a 7-inch brace height, which I absolutely love too. It's gonna still get a 335 on the IBO. You have draw weight options, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80, and they threw that 65-pound draw weight option in there, which I also absolutely love. That 65 to 75 range is perfect. I'm usually gonna set it right there in the middle at 70. If you wanna bump it up for some reason, you got a little wiggle room. And then if you wanna lower it down a little bit, you also have that room for the off season. I love that. That's a great draw weight option for me. You got 4.4 pounds. It goes from 25 out to 31. A real nice range of draw length options, getting all the way out to 31 with a more compact bow, 1/2-inch increments on a rotating module. And then my favorite thing, which the more and more I've done these reviews, I have kind of changed my perspective of let off and what is more comfortable for me. Usually I'm right in there at the 80, but I'll even go down to the 75 and 70, holding a little bit more weight. As I've gotten stronger, I feel like the bow is a little bit more stable, with me a little bit more tense. This one, which surprising to me, even at the 90% let off, the draw cycle is just, we'll see here in a second when we do the single shot assessment, but I left it right where it was so that I have a better opportunity on that full draw stall that we'll do outside. So another thing that I love about Athens that I think separates them is their camo and color options. Okay, not just the options, but the way that they transfer it onto the bow. So most people do a hydro dip. I think the majority probably do. They do a color fusion, which is going to make it kind of become a part of the bow. It's a little bit more durable. It also makes those camos pop. So if you watch the Elevate review, I did it with the Conifer Gray, which they have their own camo options, which I also love. All of them are really, really sleek. I love every single one of them. They got Autumn Blaze, True Timber Strata is what we have here, Conifer Gray, all very unique. That Conifer Gray, still to this day, is probably one of my favorite camo options ever. I wish I had a full system in that Conifer Gray. Oh man, I love it. I think it's just one of the sleekest camos out there. Like if you saw a whole bunch of bows into a bow shop, you can always notice the color fusion bows. They're just way more vibrant. They stand out more. They have a lot more detail. You know, the camo doesn't stretch like it would in a hydro dip. I don't know, there's something about them. That's the first thing that I notice when I get these bows into my hand. All right, let's go ahead and go over the actual bow itself. So they have a nice wide platform. You got these 1-inch limbs. The limb pockets, I think they are now my favorite above Hoyt. They call it a locking pocket system. This one is actually the 2.0. It's a little bit more refined, a little bit less weight, but they have these screws in the front that bolt into the front of the limb pocket. I don't think you can get a more solid limb pocket than these, being as small, sleek, and durable as they are. And then you have this riser, very similar to kind of that Athens looking riser that we've seen from years past. But again, I don't need an entire new bow. I want an engineer-minded person to kind of compound, to take all of their resources from one year to the next and put it on the things that matter instead of reconstructing the entire thing. You have this, what we've seen a ton now. You have an option for a lower stabilizer. You have your kind of right there under your grip. You have your option for the back bar. If you go up the actual grips, these are probably surpassing most of the bows that we've reviewed as well. They call it the low profile molded grip. This thing, not just the angle, I love the grooves in the front. I love the little lip on the arrow shelf, very sleek. And then going up, they did add a Picatinny rail on the front. You have the integrated rest bar on your back. You have your 2 burger holes, which I also like. I think that's just a no-brainer when it comes to those rests. 2 holes is so much better than 1. And then they have this cable guard. It does have a little bit of adjustment and movement on that cable guard where you can adjust those cables in and out for vein clearance if you need that. And then going up to the top, in between the limbs, they have these Mountain View product dampeners. While we're on Mountain View products, if you don't remember or you haven't seen it, go check it out. There's a review that we have put up on Mountain View products quivers. These right now are my favorite quivers. They have a 1-piece and a 2-piece. It is sleek, simple, durable, everything that you would need in a quiver. They have a hardware mounting kit that you can buy for like 26 bucks. So if you have like 4 or 5 bows and you want to run different bows, there's a different mounting piece that you can put on every one, and all you're doing is changing your quiver from bow to bow to bow, which I do. As you guys know, we'll hunt with 4 or 5 bows through a season. I'll just take that same quiver and put it on each bow. But I love those quivers. Check out those Mountain View products, one of my favorite companies that I found while doing this backyard bow process. And then we have the cam system. So it's very similar to the other cams that we've put on the Vista and the Elevate with minor changes. So this one actually is the PPX3. So a little bit different. I think they had made those minor changes to accommodate that new tuning system, the ACCU tuning system, which we'll touch on last. But if you look at these cam systems, not just the module system, but the lip on the bottom cam, these things have a thick gauge aluminum. These things are as solid as you can get. I love also that most of that cam is underneath those limbs, nice and protected. Very little of it sits above the limb. This to me is a perfect compact bow. I mean, it's just, this thing is made for being high in a tree. I can't, after doing so many bow reviews, things start standing out. The cams, the module systems, every part about it. The string and cables are nice and protected. So every single bow, high octane gas strings and cables. This has been what I've been most excited about, because as we know, I think it's becoming more and more popular. People are like to do things themselves. If you want something done right, you're gonna do it yourself. If anything changes, it's so much nicer to be able to do things in-house without having to press. Okay, some people, as I've done this more and more, I've also realized that I'm spoiled with so many bow shops really close to me. Some people don't have a bow shop maybe 4 hours away. So if something's wrong on the bow or something's off and you can't get it right, it's so much easier to just be able to do something in-house with a couple different Allen wrenches than to be able to go, have to take it somewhere, have it be there, wait on it. And also, I think bow shop owners also like this system, if they are getting these bows in-house to work on, for a couple different reasons. So this is very similar, and I know they are different, but it's very similar to Bowtech in the sense that you have your cam moving laterally on your axle, and that there is an adjustment knob on the side of the limb that's going to allow you to move that cam laterally. Okay, a couple things that I think are different that I really, really love. First thing, I'm gonna put a link on the bottom of this review where you can go check out the AccuTune system, because they go into great depth on how it should be used, and I think there's some things that are very important that you should do to not mess up the mechanics of the actual tuning system. One of them is the locking screw. You wanna go 2 full turns out. That was stressed to me, and that seems to be very important to not strip the entire system on the inside. So you wanna undo your locking bolt, okay? So you have that one on the back, and then you are going to take this red knob on the side. One thing I love about this is it has marks. So on the top of it, there's an indicator mark, and then there's 8 different marks so you can make 1/8-inch adjustments. Okay, you have that on the top and the bottom. So I love that when the system is built in so you know exactly the adjustments that you're making right there. We've talked about this on the Elites, the set technology. I have to make a marking on my screw to know, exactly how much I'm turning it to make sure I'm doing the correct amount, top, bottom. But I love that. The other thing that I love is there's a viewing window on the top of the limb. So if you take the bow and you start making your adjustments, let's say right now I'm all the way to the right. If you just want to start making your adjustments, sliding that limb to the left, okay, there's a viewing window on top and you will be able to tell if you're to the right, if you're right in the middle, or if you're to the left. You want to make sure that what's done on top is exactly done on bottom. That is the easiest way to make sure and do that. And also to have a reference so that you know exactly where you are. Also, if a bow shop owner, I think this is, you know, if you're getting busy, you're doing something, somebody comes to the counter, you got to step away from something you're working on, you can go back and you know exactly where you are, what you did. You don't have to make guesses. You don't have to go back to a starting point. I love the viewing window. I think that is just a very well thought out option to add to this tuning system. So one other thing that I'll point out is they have the 31, the 33, and the 35, which are replacing those Visa series. They also have a Vail 38, which goes out to 34 inches on the draw, which I think that is huge for those bigger guys. Because if you're a big guy and you love to hunt, you know it's tough to find a bow that's comfortably fits you and that's going to give you everything that you need. I think that Vail 38 is a great option. Let's go ahead. We're going to start shooting. It is a really windy, cold day. Some of my favorite days to do these reviews, to kind of get out there and really put these things to the test in the not greatest conditions. All right, so here's what we'll do. We'll do a single shot assessment. And if you haven't watched, this is just something that you can do in a shop. And what I recommend are two different things. Pay attention to the first shots that you're gonna take out of a bow. Some of those can be the truest. The more you shoot a bow, the more comfortable it's gonna feel, the more familiar it's gonna feel. So those first shots sometimes can be the truest. Another thing, you can make minor adjustments to the way you're going to shoot it indoors for a single shot assessment than you would outside or hunting. I like to cuff the grip a little bit so that my hand's touching the bow so you can feel the vibration of the bow. We get a lot of criticism about that if we do that. People are like, don't grip the bow. It's like, man, I'm doing this on purpose so that I can feel the bow. And also, usually in the shop, it's going to be dressed down so you'll get just the bow, just how it feels by itself. I love that. The single shot assessments, I think if you go into a shop, shoot 3, 4, 5 different bows, one will stand out a little bit more, but I think that's the best way to compare. So here we go, single shot. So again, usually when a bow's at a 90% let off, it's gonna dump a little bit for me at my draw length. Okay, so right there at the end, you're gonna have a nice valley, but you're gonna feel it. It's gonna make a little bit of a jerking motion. This one at 90% let off, it's probably one of the more smooth let offs. I think I would probably, if I was to buy this, hunt with this, I'd probably go 85%. And I think it would smooth out perfectly. You still get a little bit of tension. You're not so relaxed. I also, you know, after doing these, I think that is gonna affect the arrow flight a little bit. Kind of having that 90% let off. You don't want to go from no tension to as much tension as possible. You know, I think bows will shoot better at a higher let off or at a lower let off, kind of holding more weight. And it's just something you can tinker with and find for yourself. We talk about this all the time, but each of us is so different. We love different things. Our injuries kind of help make those decisions as well on what we can do, what we can hold. But I think for a 90% let off, this is one of the smoothest draw cycles. So it has a little bit of vibration in your hand. I'd say right there in the medium, you know, kind of middle of all the bows that we review. It's not dead in your hand by any means. The shot cycle is clean though. I like the way the arrow comes off of this. I think for a 31-inch axle to axle bow, it sets up real nice. It has a nice back wall. Doing backyard bows has been one of the biggest eye-opening things to me. I still have people that don't know of Athens that ask us, I've never heard of this company. We just now finally have an Athens dealer real close by here in my hometown. I think that they are growing. I think since Tracy and Jim have taken it over, I think they have done an unbelievable job in the past 6-7 years that they've had the company. And I think that they are just going to keep growing. This to me, I think it will be in our top 5 for this year if I had to jump the gun a little bit. It's again, from top to bottom, it has every single thing that I would want. Maybe quarter inch adjustments on the draw length if I was to be nitpicky, but everything else to me, I love it. I think they're absolutely fantastic bows. If you have not shot one, or you have not got to shoot one and you get a chance, just do it. I mean, I think just holding them in your hand, you will realize that they have done something special here. I would say the only thing at this point is it's not dead in your hand. There's some feeling to your hand. So another thing that was going to be different is when we got a whole bunch of new targets. Some are still coming in. We also have this Vegas big shot target down here, which has that dampening system in the front of it, which I think is going to help the decibel reading. We're always trying to improve the process here. We take feedback from you guys, and we had some comments about, somebody thought it was the bag. I wasn't shooting it at the quietest bag, but we were putting it outside the garage. So what we'll do is we'll slide this big shot rolling bag outside the garage again with the dampening system. I think it would better give us a more accurate reading on the decibel system. So that's maybe somewhere where we'll stand out. Maybe it won't be the quietest bow with the amount of vibration I'm getting in my hand, but I can't wait for the speed test. We'll do some performance outside, which is our freestyle shoot. So again, if you're new to the process, what we'll do is we'll give you all the first shots in the field outside. We will shoot this thing all day. Then we come in, do some final testing, and then we'll give it a grade at the end, which we can compare to all the other bows that we do. So let's get outside, let's get shooting. On to the freestyle shoot. Something I wanted to say inside is, I love Athens. I love the owners. They have worked with us. They send us stuff. Here's my theory, because we still have some companies that won't send us things. Their response is pretty much like, we have our reviewers that we send stuff to, like, we don't need any more. I think there's maybe one other guy that I like his style of kind of honesty, but I think we're one of a kind. So if a company doesn't want to send us, with the growth that we've had and the feedback we've had, if you don't want to send us something, you're not confident in your product. And we're going to review it anyway. I'm going to get my hands on it one way or another. So you might as well send it to us. You might as well go over everything, make sure all of our questions are answered, and kind of work with us. I feel like that's the better avenue to take, but to each their own. But Athens, man, they send me what they think, and they're smaller companies, so they asked that we send it back, and I'm okay with that. So they send us a bow, we review it, we send it right back. That's no big deal. I'm not asking for free shit. I'm not that guy. I want content, but like, you don't have to give me nothing for free. We just want stuff to review, good quality stuff to review and give to you guys. So here we go. We go 25 and 30. We'll start with this bore. I love the hold. Let me make one little adjustment. Man, at 31 inches at my draw length is my perfect compact bow. I can shoot a 29 just fine, but giving those extra 2 inches to me, I can tell it makes a world of difference. So now we got 2 bucks, one quartering to me, one's quartering away from me. I love these 2 shots. We set up all of our targets in a very specific way with intent. So these are the shots I take most in the field. This is where I spend probably most of my time. Little buck at 30. This one I'm gonna be able to shoot all day. It's enjoyable. I mean, that's something I say too, is like some bows are very enjoyable and pleasant to shoot. Some are a little bit more strenuous. Maybe as we shoot this more, we'll see, but ooh, gosh. Man, let's go shoot some other shots. All right, so now we'll climb our 3D ladder we have over here. We'll start with the turkey, which is at 25-yard increments all the way up to the elk at 50. The shot cycles, it's clean. These arrows are coming off here nice. It's a hair on the louder side, I think. Maybe that low 90s, which we'll see here in a little bit. The vibration in the hand's not noticeable to me, but the shot cycle is becoming cleaner and cleaner. So we went and got another Reinhardt target. Ooh, gosh, poking. This next target, that feeding buck, I put so many broadheads through it at the beginning of this season, kind of blowing that heart side out, and that core is barely staying in there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the elk up on top of the hill at 50 and replace that feeding buck, and then the 50-yard target is gonna be the surprise. But I've been wanting this thing for so long. We'll go feeding buck at 30. Now, a lot of people, again, we're gonna have people in here, they're gonna look at that shot and think I wasn't shooting where I wanted to. That deer is gonna move probably an inch forward and maybe an inch and a half down. Where's that shot gonna land? That deer ain't gonna go 20 yards, okay? And for all of you critics, skeptics, go look at some of these shorts I put up this year. I got like 3 hearts this year. And especially on bigger bucks, that's just, once you get confident enough, that's where you gotta go. Them big bucks, you could accidentally blow out one lung at a high angled shot. That deer might run 2 miles, 3 miles. You wanna hit them vitals, them like hard, them blood vitals. I can't stress that enough to new guys, is practice, you know, and as you get field experience, you're gonna realize every deer, you can get them in a position where they won't duck as much, but every deer is gonna duck a little. So I'm always shooting a little low. I much rather shoot lower and miss underneath than shoot over and have them duck, because I think your odds are going to be in your favor. So now we'll go gray wolf at 35. And we'll set up on that black bear, which is at 40, and then we'll do that full draw stall. All right, I didn't realize until I got inside that the camera wasn't rolling for the full draw stall. So I had to refilm it, and I actually placed a really well shot that first time, so we're gonna try to recreate what just happened. I think for sure, it doesn't matter what's on the bow, how it's set up, the technology, anything. None of it matters, not nearly as much as the stability, which is what we talk about constantly, is the most important piece of the puzzle. If a bow is not stable at full draw, everything else falls by the wayside. Our stability test that we do, which is not 100 proof, but it's a full draw stall is what we call it, 60 seconds, 90 seconds if you're at home and you really want to test yourself in a full draw situation. Try not to move, try not to adjust, like if you had an animal spook staring right at you, as still as you possibly can at the end of 60 seconds. Try to place a well-placed shot. We do it at 40. Also, if you want to do 90 and 50, that'll really give you a little bit more insight. I've watched videos on YouTube, which I don't do very much. Even though we make them, I don't really watch much, but I watched a guy shoot like 3 shots with one bow. It was a versus, like a lift versus the alpha. 3 shots with one bow, 3 shots with the other, and he shot a couple shitty shots with one of them, and he was like, look, see how much more stable this bow is than that bow? And I'm sitting there like, I wonder if people are buying this crock of shit. This is my way of testing it. A bow's stability will also be different, you know, for hunter to hunter to hunter, archer to archer to archer. So, but I think this is the best way I have found. So full draw, 60 seconds. We got that little black bear. I like to pick a little target, smallest target you can, and try to place the best shot you can right at 60. So here we go. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty close to the original shot that I took. Now again, the bow is going to either play with you or it's gonna play against you. And what I mean by that is at the end of your time, you know, how fatigued are you, as well as throughout that 60 seconds, watch your pins. Are they floating? Can you hold them as still as possible? If you had to take an instantaneous shot at any one of those seconds, could you do it? Is your pin where it wants to be, or are you constantly countering where the bow wants to move you? Just a good test. You can do at home too. So this is something that you guys can do when you're shooting your own bows. But let's move on. Let's go to that bonus shot. This has been a shot I have, even off camera, I've shot more and more and more at this kicking buck quartering to me. It's like a shot that I had 2 years ago that I botched, and it like haunts me. So this is another shot that I like. You can kind of see how I line up my targets, and I'm actually planning on, once I get that new target in, we're going to do a little bit of rearranging, which is always fun. So kicking buck, 45 yards. Man, proof's in the pudding. Let's go up to that 50 yarder. Then we'll go inside, speed test. I think this thing is going to be right in that money speed. I like it, 280. We'll shoot a couple at this elk. Oh gosh. And this thing is just, this has a very nice bow. Really, really like this. Kudos to Athens. This is a great bow here. Nice and complete. Really well made. All right, so now we'll do we got a long hard shot. Now we'll do a quick 50. A little made up stability to try to dial your pins down, I would say within 5 seconds. And release 150 yards and out. I think that's another good judge of stability. We'll do one more quick 50. I like that one. You gotta end on a good note. I love this thing. All right, let's go inside. All right, so we'll do speed test. We'll do 3 different arrows, and we used to do it with just one. Again, getting some feedback from you guys. You guys wanted to see a little bit different variation of arrow weight. So what I've done is I've just picked 3 arrows that I have hunted with in the past, or arrow weights that I've hunted with for a long time. And the one that I probably hunted with the most is this exact arrow. So you got a 300 spine full metal jacket. Like this arrow weight with a 100 grain field tip, you're looking right at 500 grains. This is the one that we will do and factor into the grade at the end. So we have a 30-inch draw, 70 pounds, 500 grains, 335 on the IBO. That's 283. If you know me, that's all I want to see. So honestly, we're just going to let that be. That's perfection to me. People ask why, and really it's just after you hunt for so long, after you shoot so many bows through a chronograph, you start seeing like where my draw length and the fluctuation of grainage that I use in my arrows, like where I'm usually landing, what I've hunted with the most, what I've had the most success with, and it's right there in the 280s. Anything over that to me, I consider a bonus feet per second. But if it's in the 280s, I'm confident at certain yardages in the field. So now we have a little bit heavier arrow, 560. This is the same arrow, but with a brass insert. That's 259, 260. And then we'll go one arrow with a lighter grain, but it's a 400 spine full metal jacket. So again, not the correct spinage for my draw length and poundage. Yeah, so 440. And this is probably one of the lighter arrows I've hunted with. I usually don't go below 450, but 440 is something I used for a couple years. So that's 292. So awesome speeds, nothing to complain about. Isn't the highest speed grade we're gonna have given out, but man, this is like right where I wanna be. You know, again, every single part of this review we've done, it just makes me like this bow more and more. Let's flip it around and we'll do our first decibel reading on this new. Okay, so I bought this Big Shot block. I had no idea how heavy this thing was. So I go down to the last day. They say, come pick it up the last day of the ATS show. Well, I go down by myself. I start rolling this thing outside. I get outside, I'm like, how the hell am I gonna get this thing in my truck? So if you're viewing, if you're one of the guys that views, thank you. The 3 of you who helped me get this thing in my truck. I'm telling you, this thing was heavy as shit. And then to my amazing girlfriend who helped me get it out. So, but it has that dampening system on the front, so I think it should make it a little bit quieter. We have the reader here on the phone, which has kept track of all the bows we do, which I can go back and kind of compare and contrast, and then you have this view decibel reading up on the wall here that you guys can view. So we'll do 3 shots. That's a 92. I got the block for 2 reasons. One, the other one was small. I think I was down a bow end. The sight was way off. I didn't realize I shot an arrow through my garage door, and that pissed me off. So I realized I needed a bigger block. I found this one that had the dampening system, which I thought would help with this. But the whole tower itself kind of covers that door, which is nice. But the actual big block, it wasn't as nearly as quiet as I was thinking. But it definitely is more quiet. So we got 90.5, 92. This is right where I would have guessed. You can kind of tell with the amount of vibration you're gonna get in a bow for the noise. 91. So yeah, that's like, if I was to had made a guess, that's right where it would be, right in that low 90s. I think what we've seen from the past is 90 and below bows are on the quieter side, 90 and above on the louder side. Let's say this decibel reader is off by 5 decibels. Again, we can still compare in-house. So for those of you who get so caught up on the numbers, it's the same reader doing the same bows. So we have a range right now between 84, which was maybe the phase 4, up to 95. So at 10 decibel, that's kind of the range of where we are from all of the bows that we've done. So, all right, back to Athens, man. We've done full circle twice. So this will be the 3rd bow. Did the Vista, did the Elevate. Now the AXXIS, I can't believe how many bows we've done. This is it's just kind of ring a bell in my head. It's like, man, this is our 3rd bow for some companies, 3rd year. So this is my favorite grade I've ever given. Keep that in mind. I love this whole process, the grade. I just sat down, really put some good thought into it. I think this is accurate. I think it's deserved. And this was an absolute blast to shoot. Thank you, Tracy and Jim. Appreciate you guys. So first thing, 283 right off of the bat. Nice speeds, right in the sweet spot. Okay, 8 out of 10. Durability. To me, the limb pockets, the thickness gauge, design of the cams, the riser, the coating, cable guard, all of it, I gave it a 9.5. That is the first quality 9.5 we've ever given for an aluminum bow riser. I'm happy to give that grade. I mean, that's just, to me, it's deserved. This thing is very solid. I mean, reassured, the way it's designed, the way it's shaped, this thing can take an absolute beating. I love it. Appeal, I gave it a 9. Technology, here we go again. I gave it another 9.5. I don't think I can give it a 10 and match it with like APA Bowtech. I think there's just a little bit of extra, little bit of bonus technology on those bows that this might not have, but I think a 9.5, again, it's very well deserved. I love the new tuning. I think personally, this is the best, very micro adjustment self-tuning system that you can get. It just makes the entire process, broadhead tuning, that fine tuning. I love the window. That's like my favorite part. So you can know exactly where you are, where you were if you leave. It's just, it's a very nice system. Again, props to you guys as engineers. I think it's just one of my favorites, one of my new favorites. I absolutely love it. So, and then 9 for performance. I mean, this thing is just as solid as you can get. This is like, 9's my like performance grade. Very rare have we ever given a 9.5 for performance, but man, this thing just, for a shorter axle bow, one of the best ones I've shot. Absolutely love it. It was a breeze to shoot while packing a punch with the 280s with that 500 grain arrow. It's just, God, this is one of my personal favorites from the year. I will 100% try to get my hands on one of these come next season and get it in that season hunting lineup. I would love to take one of these in the field. And one day, somebody's gonna create a conifer gray get up, and I'm gonna have that baby. Love the camos. Check them out, Athens, great company. Love what they're doing. Can't wait to see like what they're gonna do next. You gotta wait a whole year, which sucks, but I'm already looking forward to it. 45 out of 50 times by 2, you get that 91 bonus makeup point. These are $13.99 off the shelf. Anywhere between 1,000 and 1,500 will give you 1 makeup point. 1,500 above, you don't get any makeup points. 0 to 500, you get 3, 500 to 1,000, you get 2. So, and I always like to throw that little bonus in there. So 91 out of 100, I think this is probably one of the best, most accurate grades I have given. God, I love what we do. So hopefully you found something in this review that was helpful, informational in your whole bow buying process, because God, we know that there's a million bows out there and sometimes it's hard to kind of create separation between them, but that's our job and that's what we're doing here. Thank you guys for following along. We are almost at 10,000 subscribers. Please share a video, share something, kind of help us grow. The more growth we have, the more notice we've had from these companies, which means we get more stuff in-house, which we get more reviews for you. So make sure above all else, you get into a bow shop, try many different bows. Shoot, don't just buy a bow off a single bow review. Get your daily reps in. See you next time.